Phyllis Y. Whitley. Welcome to Spiritology Live, a raw, uncut, metaphysical, holistic space of consciousness for self healing, where you will learn how to break your religious shackles, master and manifest your promised land within so you can live in it today. My podcast is based out of my number 1 Amazon bestseller author book called Spiritology. Let's go. Well. This is a podcast. Is based on my book. I'm just going to reiterate that this is not a Bible study. This is everything that I did say. I said literally raw and uncut. What I mean is some things I'm going to say it. Hey, I'm just going to keep it raw. I'm going to keep it real when it comes to the damage that the seed is doing in the church and the people's homes and stuff like that. If you don't know where I'm at, go back to my podcast. Let's give a shout out to all of those who started that podcast in 2022. Hello. We're going to dive right into it. Basically, I went to chapter 1 and then I went to chapter 2 in my book. And then I said, wait a minute, there was so much in each chapter that I literally want to go ahead and dive into to give you an understanding. I'm going to say again, you might take this as your Bible study, okay? The reason why I go into the scriptures, because the scriptures is proof. The scriptures are going back to your manufacturer. Why not go to your higher source? Well, I don't need the higher source or whatever. Well, do me a favor if you don't need it. Could you go up to the sun and the moon and I want you to place it over to the right-hand side? Oh, could you just stop the ocean for the wave and all of that? Can you do that? No, you can't do none of that. So I'm going to go to my invisible source, Supreme, God. Some people call him Jehovah. Lots of names, but make sure you give him the greatest name. With that being said, last week or the previous episodes, we went into the spiritual religious shackles. I'm going to go ahead and let you know a little bit about that. Let's recap the religious shackles. It's a seed. It's a seed that you grow into the ground. But the difference is instead of growing into the ground and growing into the pot, you grow it into yourself. It's a good seed and it's a bad seed. The good seed is gospel. It's a spell. It's a good spell of blessings. Gospel, God said, preach to everyone. No, you don't have to go on the pulpit. You can go and you can, whatever you specialize in, whatever is you. You know what? I don't specialize in anything. You know how many people was on YouTube, one of the greatest marketplace, and they are coming out that they would originally, if it wasn't for YouTube, nobody would have cast them. They would have never made it to Hollywood. And some of them just like cats. They doing everything about cats. They're pets. Some of them are just saying, hey, let me let you know, I got stuff for your face, makeup, beautiful lipstick. I got stuff. Hey, I'm an African-American woman and it's not a lot of products out there for me, beauty products. So guess what? I'm making the beauty products. It's people who is making detergent. I learned how to make detergent. Well, that don't make any sense. It does make many sense because you know why? You are helping a community. Some people are helping a small community and some people go around the world and help a large community. You look at YouTube and they're showing you how to fix things. It's people that's showing you how to cook. You would have never known about a person who cooked. Maybe this particular person you can relate to. Maybe they got comedy in their cooking and it's some people I look at it, I'll be cracking up. I'm not going to give them any shout out. There's a couple of them I look at. With that being said, I'm just letting you know, first of all, you have a gift. God said your gift should make room for you. So don't let nobody tell you. Remember I told you about the seed? That seed, demonic seed, is everywhere. It's in the spiritual leaders. We are not here to bash the spiritual leaders. Well, Miss P, why are you always talking about the spiritual leaders? Because the spiritual leaders are out there. This is where the seed is corrupt. It's also, if you go and you read my book, it's also everywhere. Politicians, in the courthouse, Hollywood. So we are going to get to that later. But right now, the spiritual leaders are the ones you trust, the ones you look up to. And when you scarred by somebody in a courtroom, you scarred by your teacher, you'll carry that. The biggest scars when you scarred by your parents or you scarred by family members or even the spiritual leader, because the spiritual leader makes you say, hey, wait a minute. I am not dealing with nothing to do with God. I think I talked about Jim Jones, and I remember seeing that documentary. Uh, I seen it, excuse me, I got tongue tied because I don't like to go back there. That documentary was beyond, it left me shocked. And it was just showing you how a religious leader planted a seed in so many people who didn't know. If you don't know, you don't know who is spinning you and turning you around. That's why I heard someone said it's a religion. I'm not even going to give them credit. They go out there and they'll knock at your door and they can sit back and turn you right around because you know why? You don't know the manufacturing book. So you don't know if somebody come and tell you a lie. Now, I give you the scriptures because the scriptures are literally proof, is my backup. So with that being said, Jim Jones led so many people with a lion seed, demonic seed, and they believed him. And some of those people that lived, they went back and they just like, I don't want to look, don't even out of God who, God what? Because see, the spiritual leaders, that seed sits there because it can knock you. It can knock you away from God. That seed that was in a garden, in a snake, just wanted to knock them from God. You knock from God, you can't get in that promised land. Israelites walked through that promised land. Well, they was walking toward the promised land, and they took a trip that could have lasted for days and it last for years. With that being said, they didn't make it to the promised land. Is that you? You know how many people are in the grave, and Miles Monroe said it? The wealthiest people are in the grave. But you know why? This is what I say. Because they didn't make it to the promised land. The promised land is where you literally weep, milk, and honey. But that's because you're prospering so you can prosper other people. Your prosperity may not look like my prosperity. Some people, it's like, just give me a farm and let me produce food. That's their gospel. I just want to make people look beautiful. That's your gospel. I don't have nothing to say, but I like to make people laugh. That's your gospel. Preach it. We can say preach it. Don't get confused because y'all say, I'm not going in no pulpit. No, you don't have to. You're just telling it like it is. The seed, the bad seed, remember the bad seed comes through your neighbor. I don't know what you're going to school for. I noticed that you got books, and what are you going to take up? Oh, you need to stop that, honey. I tried to do that and I didn't make it. The family member that look at you and say, do you know how ugly you are? You got to go out there and you're going to what? Do what with beauty? They laugh at you. The teacher that look at you and say, I'm sorry to tell you this, but little Johnny, little Rita, you're not going nowhere. Little Shamika, really? You wrote this on owning a house? I'm sorry to tell you, you're not going to do it. You know why the seed was in your teacher? To stop you. You know, to see really have to get you in childhood. That's why you got these kids messed up from the floor up. How do I know? I even did substitute teaching. My daughter's a teacher. Right there, get them messed up. They don't know who they are. They looking in the mirror and they don't know that, who am I? I'm confused. That seed want them at a young age. So they are messed up from the floor up. And by the time they become grown, they messed up. And then they reproduce the seed and they'll go out there and mess everybody else up. With that being said, that's that demonic seed. Okay? Now we covered everything. And this is for those who was recapping. I just, whenever I cover something, I'm giving you a little bit more dessert. Okay? So with that being said, we talked about the spell of blessings. The spell that is the most deadliest is religion. Because the religion people in the New Testament was always telling Jesus, no, you can't do that. Why are you doing that? Where are you doing it? Those are the same voices. Don't you hear their voices? Your teacher. I just said that. It might be your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend. Whatever it is, we are going to walk in the promised land. Walk in the promised land and go forth and choose, because God said you have to choose. God will not come down here and choose for you. Well, you know what? My mother chose, and I live in a ghetto. Who cares? Then you have a better, powerful story. I don't know. I don't have any gift. Well, if you was in the ghetto and you made it out the ghetto, that's the biggest gift. You can teach people how to get out the ghetto. There is nothing you can't do. Oh, I'm disabled and I'm this. It's 100 different things that you can do. If you got a voice, it's all kind of stuff that you can get out there and speak. YouTube is vast majority of millions of people getting up there and saying, "Hey, let me show you my talent," and they're doing a good job. So what we are going to go ahead and do, we are going to go into the meditation therapy. And this is just going to be a little bit more extra dessert for the religious shackles. The meditation therapy that I have is today I let go of religious shackles that keep me in bondage and violated my flesh. What is that? Spiritual leaders, and let me say the wrong spiritual leaders, will keep you in bondage and make you feel like you got these handcuffs. And I'm not saying you're supposed to do anything and everything because there's rules out there. The universe have rules. And if you don't believe me, like I said, go get on the highway and just go joyride for over 100,000 miles per hour. And I'm not telling you to do, but you know what? Popo's coming after you. Okay, these little rules are to discipline you so people don't go crazy. Even in your house, you're going to have standards of rules. I mean, some of y'all don't. Y'all kids can go to bed at 12. You don't have a time frame of what time people go to bed. Okay, we're not going to go into the rules, but everybody is different. Okay, so the shackles is that bondage that keep you always, you know what I'm trying to say, stuck. The next line is today I put on my clothing of spiritual sovereignty as I accept a life of freedom. Your life of freedom is being who you want to be and embracing your gifts so you can go forth and help your community. It doesn't matter what size it is. The next one is today I believe in the true power of God and I look within myself to find him. Everything is within you. Within you. It's that silent whisper that nobody hears. It's within you. What they did, they looked for Jesus. How should I say? That seed, the spiritual sectors of those times always wanted the approval of man for what they did on the outside. You know, the one on the corner that preached for hours and is not really helping anybody, don't have anything to give anybody. And this is the ones that just there because they want to be seen. I'm not talking about the ones who say, hey, maybe I can reach about 3 people. You never know. If you want to be a preacher that stand on the corner, kudos for you. Okay. But whatever you do it for the right reasons. Okay. Now, with that being said, you got today I stopped the spells of religion and replace it with the gospel. You're replacing it with good spells. All that religious seeds and demonic forces that's within you, take it out. How can it be taken out? I can't just stop it. I mean, I can't find. This habit. The same way you made that a habit is the same way you can go ahead and put all these things in you. Next one. Today I take my power back from false leaders as I connect with my God within. It's all about false leaders. We're not bashing on leaders, okay? So don't give me nothing about you bashing. If you know you're a good leader, you don't need to worry about this. I'm talking to those people who have been traumatized and victimized by the spiritual leaders, by people in their family, where their seed is flowing, and your neighbors and your teachers and whatever. That's who I'm talking to. And if you keep saying, well, you didn't do this and you did, maybe because you're one of those people. With that being said, you notice it was within. It's something that you have to look within your own self. My main thing I tell my clients, soul searching is within yourself. The next line is, today I soak up the word of God all day long. You need to have those words in your body, in your spirit. His words are life. It's also motivational. Everybody's like, oh my goodness, motivational speakers, that is not of God. Go into Proverbs. They just putting some emphasis on the words. And then it says, today I live my life in abundance, humbly. You got to be humbled. If you're not humble, you have pride. And pride, bigger your pride, bigger the fall. Today I am attracting the right people, places, and things to carry out my life purpose. Thank you, God, within. That right there is the best meditation you can do. If you notice, I always talk about within. It's your whisper within that nobody hears about but you. It's what you're saying to yourself. It's the noise that was said out, those seeds that I named that told you you would never be anybody. You could never make it. Well, listen, just because Aunt Susan didn't make it, don't have nothing to do with you. I know people, it's family members and neighbors, they will stop their world. I remember one time I had someone contact me and I wanted to go into real estate. And we was on the phone probably 3 hours for that person telling me how they didn't make it in real estate and they don't think that I can make it. You know what I started doing? I started going and doing. I have a license here, and whatever. Some of it I didn't fulfill it and bring it with me to different states. But you know what? Start doing what they said you can't do. I one time had a lady call me and she said, my family said this and I'm that and I just can't. And I said, well, why can't you? We had a discussion. Why can't you go ahead and be what you wanted to be? I think she wanted to finish school and go into nursing. But she literally was like, well, my family said, huh? I said, can you just stop talking about your family for a minute? I've been there. So listen, Miss P is not giving you anything. I've been there. I'm not ragging on my family. I'm telling you where that seed shows up. That seed can go show up in a stranger. A stranger, you can be going into a place, a upscale restaurant, and that one person look at you like, you don't belong in here. That seed don't even have to make noise. They can look at you funny. Interesting. Isn't it interesting? It's interesting because with that being said, that was the meditation therapy. And we are so happy to be with you today. Thank you for coming into my space. Now go get your promised land. Please share it on social media platform because I don't know who you know. And just let that be the beginning of you manifesting your community. Manifest a good review and a testimony for me. I would love it so others can reap their harvest too. And please don't miss your opportunity to get the book. Spiritology is available not only on Amazon, but it's available on Audible. So if you don't have time, you can just listen to it. Okay, so next time you'll be ready for the dessert I'm giving you. Thank you. And remember, if loving yourself is right, you don't want to be wrong.